One thing I hate about modern sports coverage is recency bias. When you have a bunch of 25-year-olds covering the NBA, for example, and there are more and more young people covering the league as places force out older reporters who make money, what you get is a limited knowledge of history. And the Luka-AD trade is a perfect example of that. Everyone's saying this is the biggest blockbuster in NBA history. It's the biggest blockbuster ever, blah, blah, blah. And that might be true. There's a case to be made for that. But I did a little search, and not one person, not one, has referenced the other NBA trade from my lifetime that rivals this. And that happened on December 12th, 1987, when the Houston Rockets sent Ralph Sampson, their four-time All-Star center/power forward, and a guard named Steve Harris, to the Golden State Warriors for Eric Sleepy Floyd, their point guard, who was averaging 21.9 points per game and 10 assists per game, and center Joe Barry Carroll, the number one pick in the 1980 draft, who was averaging 16.2 points, 5.6 rebounds. First of all, in Sampson and Joe Barry Carroll, you have two number one picks being traded for each other. Number two, Ralph Sampson was the shit. Like Ralph Sampson, when he was the number one pick in the NBA draft in 83, was kind of considered to be in that long line of Wilt, of Kareem, like dominant Bill Walton, dominant centers who would own the NBA. And the only reason Houston was trading him is because the year after they drafted Hakeem Olajuwon. So they had these two centers plugged down low. And after a while, it kind of stopped working. So you have this trade. And just like we all were shocked by Luka-AD, we were all shocked that the Houston Rockets would trade Ralph Sampson, a 7'3" center with all sorts of skills. And if you want to take a minute and YouTube Ralph Sampson highlights, you will see. And the trade was just mind-blowing, truly. And George Karl, the Warriors coach, said, I think it's a great trade for us. This is after the next day. We felt in our situation we weren't going anywhere. This is Ralph Sampson's team. We're going to build around Ralph Sampson. We've now got a center. I think it's a great move. Now, the problem was Ralph Sampson ended up having really bad knees, and he was never the same. He played a little bit in Golden State, didn't go well, petered out in Sacramento, and that was it. But I'm telling you, at the time, that deal, if it wasn't as big as the Luka trade, it was this far behind it. And I do think like one of the importance of having veteran reporters is knowing what they're talking about and understanding the history of the league.